Welcome to Sterling Spotlight Podcast, where we give a spotlight on cybersecurity and all things tech. You're listening to episode 5, Why XDR Needs to be the New Standard, especially for lean IT security teams. Extended Detection and Response, XDR, seems to be the buzzword in the cybersecurity space. What is it all about, and is it truly what the new gold standard should be? I'm your host, Peaches Matarang-Cesario, Chief Strategist at Sterling Information Technologies. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, Greg Bennett, Senior Security Solutions Engineer at Cynet. Cynet is one of the leading XDR platforms that provides extended visibility to prevent and detect threats across your environment, as well as Sterling's trusted partner for Auto XDR and 24/7 MDR platform. Hi, Greg. Welcome, and thank you for taking the time to join us on the show. How are you?
I'm doing well, Peaches. Thank you very much for having me.
I'm so excited. Now, Greg, we talk about it all the time at Sterling to our clients, but XDR is one of the key drivers for us at Sterling. And it's really what we, sort of lead off when we're talking to our clients. And as your MSSP partner, we like it so much because it is holistic and highly automated. And we saw that it's especially helpful for lean IT and security teams. Are you able to speak to the common pain points of what lean security teams run into and what their challenges are?
Absolutely. And I think the best way to address that exact question is to kind of go back a little bit. I think that the many of the challenges that are felt today are a direct result of the success of the security industry of yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. We have continued to get better at what we do as an industry, and therefore we are raising the bar, if you will, that the active adversaries need to achieve in order to gain entry and wreak havoc. So really, the past, 20 years, cybersecurity has been on the path of increasing cost and complexity, and that really is one of the biggest problems with IT security teams, lean mm-hmm. security teams specifically. The current approach is it's all about the security solutions that are out there are designed for organizations that are heavy on resources. They have either the pocketbooks or they've got the staff to warrant the complexity of the security solutions that are out there today. Mm-hmm. But individually, they do what they're supposed to do in the silo, but as a conglomerate or as a total solution, they lack the coverage and the visibility that is needed through the automation of the service, right?
Right. One of the things that you said is that they have the pocketbook, right? And our clientele, what Sterling is our sweet spot or who we've committed our business philosophy on is the small to medium size enterprise. And they don't always have the deep pockets that the larger companies, the multinationals or Fortune 500 companies have. And a lot of the times, they're the ones that have the lean IT security team, or even if they even have someone on their security team. Because as we know, just because you're in IT, it doesn't mean you know about cybersecurity. There's just so much there. And I guess one of the things that I love about Cynet, and I know that it's, that our clients love too, is it's kind of like they already have their own security team when they have Cynet, because unlike, other platforms, which are also really good, the difference I think between Cynet and you guys is that, or not Cynet and you guys, but Cynet and the other guys, is that I can get a full solution without, having to, have an additional cost here and there. It's kind of like an all-in-one platform. And I think that's the great thing about Cynet for, SMEs is that it's very affordable.
You know,
Go ahead.
and that's exactly it. I mean, that's exactly why Cynet was formed, right? We saw that the cybersecurity paradigm was broken, and we realized that by taking the complexity out of cybersecurity, we could actually deliver better protection at a lower cost. And that's really where we, that is where we strive for.
Yeah, and like, so can you explain what is XDR? Because there's XDR, there's MDR, there's EDR. And for people who don't live and breathe, cybersecurity and all these acronyms all the time, what is it that I need to look for in a platform that can provide me with, this holistic solution? Because everybody says they have it, right?
Absolutely. It's the evolution of the acronym, right? We started in the 80s with simply writing a signature for a bad file that was out there, and we were able to catch it. And then it progressed, and we got polymorphic attacks, and we were able to go against that with heuristic approaches and behavior analysis and things of that nature. XDR is really the next evolutionary step from the EDR platform. EDR is extended detection response, right? And it's really about file remediation, so being able to delete and quarantine files, being able to kill a process, host remediation, being able to isolate or put a digital bubble around that device, being able to run a command or a script through the platform. But that was still a manual process. XDR really brings automation to play. We're able to do things like, not just the file remediation and the host remediation of, isolation and things of that nature, but we can also change the IP. We can restart the device. We can disable or delete services, right? On a network level, we can block traffic. We can clear the DNS cache if we need to. On a user side, right, we can disable the user or force a reset password. And as far as the environmental side, we are able to plug into or communicate with your perimeter firewalls or proxies and active directories and things of that nature. And all of that is done in an automated fashion. So we're grabbing the visibility and putting context around what we're seeing and providing automated responses to it. And XDR is extended detection response. It's just that next evolution of that acronym.
Just to share a case study, we have a insurance brokerage of 4,000 agents. And before we came along, they were experiencing a lot of attacks and threats, through vishing and phishing. And when we did a 14-day proof of concept with them, oh, Greg, if you had seen the files, immediately the Cynet started going off, and so many things were happening, and I think that people, one of the things that people don't understand is that when you get an email, a phishing email, that's already an attempted attack or a threat. And a lot of these agents, they didn't know that. And the minute we had installed Cynet, it was just something that even their IT team, because they didn't have a dedicated security person, didn't know what to do. But because Cynet, is an all-in-one, it's very holistic. It allowed them to focus on what they needed to do. And, and if they needed help, they had the SOC, right? And that they were able to help them. Now, is there anything else that I haven't asked you or that we've talked about that you want our listeners to know about Cynet? I mean, aside from, you've been from Gartner, you guys have had great reviews. You've been, you've won all kinds of awards, but something that maybe, a listener out there who may not be that familiar with XDR, or maybe even a CISO looking to replace, their existing platform, that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, well, I want to circle back on one of the things that you were talking about with that case study, and it really brings home true to the last 2.5 years. In this post-pandemic world, we have more and more remote workers. We've perforated that perimeter wall of the network now, where we have a larger proportion of our workforce that are working from home or from the Starbucks down the street or from some remote location. And so provided you still need the visibility in order to protect those clients. And that's one of the things that we do well, because we are an agent-based solution. We sit on the host, so we go with them no matter where they go. So that's definitely something that I wanted to highlight on that. And then I think some of the other, for the, us personally at Cynet, some of the differentiators that we bring is the full response automation, being able to fully automate so that you don't get that call at 2:00 in the morning and you have to hit your slippers and run down to the office. We are completely backed by 24/7 security operational center analysts. So we have the security geeks. We sleep, eat, and breathe security all day long so that you don't have to. And that's really one of the benefits of coming on board with the Cynet platform.
Right. Wow, I think we could talk about Cynet for another hour or two. Have you been given the time? But I think
absolutely, I can talk for all day long. Give me the shot.
Exactly. So, what I want to do is I want to put out that the invitation that when we do another segment, to have you back on and we can talk about, other things that are happening with Cynet, because the company is definitely growing. The platform is, growing. There's a lot of R&D that's happening. And, I think our existing clients and listeners out there would be very interested to hear about the Cynet journey. And so, without taking too much of your time, I know that you're traveling all across the US right now, and you're probably getting ready to go to another show. But, one of the things that I would like to, or a few things I'd like to take away is that, Cynet knew that there was a gap in the security industry and created a platform that was affordable for everybody, not just for the larger companies, but even for that 20-person company or 5-person company, that SME that may not be that big, but you have big contracts and big clients, and the fact that you automatically have a security team with you because you have the SOC. That's included with the platform. It's not something that you have to pay extra for. And the fact that you have a broad visibility and really secure protection, you get all the alerts, you get the response automation, it's efficient, it reduces cost, and it's very simple for the most part to really, have Cynet as your XDR platform.
It's all about taking the guesswork out, right? Providing the context, providing the visibility, giving it to you in real world terms that you can understand simply, because you're already wearing 30 other hats, right? So being able to jump into a system that doesn't have a steep learning curve, that's not overly complex, it really brings home the ability to respond quickly and effectively.
Yeah, and for me, somebody who has been in the security, field for a while, but not long enough to be that technical about it, that's something that I just love about it, because I can look at reports and I can see what's going on without having to, had a lot of educational or academia behind me on that. This is such an eye-opening and informative episode, because now we realize that a sophisticated cybersecurity XDR platform, specifically Cynet, is actually affordable. It's not intimidating, it's not pretentious, and it really is cost-effective. It's automated and it works 24/7, and it provides all of us with that full visibility, the response automation and managed detection and response that really relieves either an overworked lean IT team or a company that doesn't even have, a cyber team, from having to look at potential threats and trying to figure out, what's happening, what do we do next? So, I'd like to think that Cynet is like having your own cybersecurity team, and you don't even have to, it's kind of like that set it and forget it kind of thing. You install it and then Cynet does all the work for you for the most part. Greg, thank you for joining us today. And thank you to our listeners. As I said, Greg, I invite you to come on back and we'll, let us know how Cynet is doing and some of the new developments that are happening within the company. For our listeners, thank you for joining us in today's episode. We are offering a special promotion for our Cynet platform this month. So make sure you follow this podcast and send us an email at cyberteam@sterlinginfo.com with the subject line Sterling Spotlight to inquire about how you can get your Cynet XDR today. Greg, thank you so much again, and I hope you'll come back.
My pleasure. I'd love to.
Thank you so much. So everyone, my name is Peaches Matarang Cesario. Thank you for listening, and please make it a great day.